Hi everybody, Chad Sarna from Good Catch here. Today we're going to be making salmon risotto. We're featuring the Good Catch plant-based salmon burger in this recipe, paired with some peas, some asparagus, some arugula, nice shave of lemon in there and Parmesan. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. And as always, if you enjoy this video, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to our channel. All right, so we're gonna kick off this recipe by cooking up the salmon burgers. So you get 2 per pack. These are amazing. This is my favorite product that we have on the market right now. Today we're gonna be putting it in a creamy risotto. Let's start off by cooking these salmon burgers, then we're gonna remove them, chop them up, and then we're gonna cook the risotto. The risotto is a labor of love. It takes some time, so definitely hang in there when you're making it. All right, so we're gonna heat up a cast iron. My favorite way to cook a lot of our appetizers and entrees, like the burgers that we have and the crab cakes, is in a cast iron, okay? Even consistent heat through cast iron is one of my favorite reasons why to use it. But we're gonna get that nice and hot and use a little bit of oil, okay? And you gotta remember with these salmon burgers, they're of a good amount of fat, all right? And so these are going to release some fat as well. There's gonna be some really nice caramelization quite quickly. So I'm gonna cook it for about 4 to 6 minutes on one side, and we're gonna flip it and do the same on the other, and then those should be done. I'll finish it with a little bit of butter, and we'll remove them from the pan to add to the next step of the recipe. So let's go ahead and... All right, so those are on a medium to high heat. I'm gonna go ahead and flip those, get some nice color. All right, so these are gonna continue to cook for about 6 minutes on the other side as well. These have so much flavor and the flakiness. That's the best part about this product and all of our products at Good Catch. So we worked on texture for the good 1.5 years before we started the company. We knew it was one of those huge positive attributes about seafood. And so we ended up really nailing the texture, and that's really one of the most impressive parts about our product is certainly the texture. And it is impressive. I cannot wait for you guys to try it if you haven't tried it yet. So I'm just gonna flip those over. These are done, all right? So I'm just gonna shut that off the heat. Let those cool while I start the risotto, okay? You always want to heat up a liquid when you're making risotto, okay? That liquid can be a veggie stock, that liquid can be straight water, it can be a veggie chicken stock, whatever kind of risotto that you think is gonna pair with the liquid, then you certainly use it. A trick is if you're gonna use a vegetable stock is light brown or golden in color, that's gonna be the color of your risotto, okay? I'm choosing to use only water here because it's gonna be heavily seasoned with a lot of other ingredients, but I want it to be as white as possible, this risotto. So white, creamy, when it comes to the butter, the Parmesan, and so you see all the colors of the salmon, the green of the peas and the leeks, and the arugula, it all really pops, okay? So if I'm making like a mushroom risotto, I would use a mushroom stock. If I'm making any kind of, a vegetable-based risotto, maybe I'll use vegetable stock as well. So you wanna make sure that you're heating up the water. This is a critical step when you make risotto. Okay, so heat up the water or the stock. And the reason for that is because it really helps during the cooking process. I'm gonna show you as we're making the risotto. These are gonna be set aside. So, about risotto. Risotto, I use an arborio rice. Arborio rice is a short grain, little plump rice. The key characteristic of an arborio rice is the outer starch is a lot thicker, okay, with the rice. The beauty of risotto and using arborio rice is the slow cooking process. You're actually releasing the starch. So you're constantly agitating the rice so it releases those starchiness. And so just with the water and the rice, you're gonna create this incredibly creamy texture just with rice and water, okay? So as that pan heats up, we're gonna prep some of the vegetables. So I'm gonna start off with the leeks. You want to make sure that you clean them. So I'm gonna show you how incredibly dirty these leeks are. So you wanna always clean them. I always take off the outer layer because it's usually bruised or a little discolored, but I always slice almost all the way down, but you can see the dirt on these leeks, okay? So I'm only gonna use 1 leek on this recipe, but you can see how dirty each layer is. Even if you wash it on the outside, you're still gonna get those little pockets of dirt. So you wanna make sure you wash the leeks really good before you use them. All right, water's boiling, gonna shut that off. And now I have a leek. Now you can see nice and cleaned up, all right? Just gonna slice that down, all right? Now I do use some of the green and not just the white of the leek. So just gonna slice that up. So I'm gonna start this off with a leek. You can use white onion as well. You can use a shallot if you wish. I'm just gonna start off with some of this leek. And there is nothing better than caramelized leeks, just like you would caramelizing onions, low and slow on a low heat. You can do the same thing with leeks, and caramelized leeks, you can make like a leek butter, which is so incredible. Cooking down leeks, caramelizing them, then you can actually, if you blended it with a little bit of butter, it's a great flavor-packed umami bomb. So, okay, I have some garlic as well. So I'm gonna slice up this garlic paper thin slices. I like larger pieces of garlic, obviously. You know, thin. You want to make sure they're thin because it adds a little bit of texture also to the risotto, which is quite nice. And I just love garlic, so I'm going to add those leeks in. Okay, that's down to a medium heat. All right, so the garlic I'm going to set aside. I'm going to add that in just a moment. Garlic tends to burn a little bit faster than onions does, so I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to add it in just a moment. You can go ahead and caramelize this if you want, but just by keeping that little bit of color is fine. So when I'm making a risotto, I put it on a medium heat, okay? Make sure there's oil to cover the pan. I'm going to add the rice at this early stage, okay? And what you're going to do, I'm going to show you a little indicator here. So what you're going to do here, as this initial step, you're basically cooking the rice. There's some oil in the pan, so you can do this with no onions, okay? No onions in the beginning step, but I'm going to show you here. You're basically just cooking the rice, and that oil, what it's doing is it's loosening up that starch on the outside of the rice. And you can see that they're starting to become a little translucent. See that? How the rice is becoming slightly translucent. You can see the sort of the middle part of the rice. So I'm just going to keep stirring that up. And what that oil is doing is basically loosening up that starch a bit. So what I'm going to now do is add some garlic in there. And add it now. Just didn't want it to hit direct heat. But now that I'm adding the liquid, it's just going to slowly, naturally cook. So this rice now is starting to slightly stick. Okay? That's exactly what you want. Oh, so much aromatics going on here. Just those leeks and that garlic. That's one of my favorite smells is onions and garlic. All right, so I'm basically taking a ladle at a time. All right? And what that is gonna do is that's going to start to loosen up that starch. So I'm basically just stirring in that liquid, okay? So now that you get that arborio rice, that nice translucent color, you're gonna constantly be agitating the rice. So I had mentioned that a risotto is a labor of love. It's just like if you're baking bread or if you're making, any kind of sourdough like a pizza dough or fresh pasta. It is certainly a labor of love. It pays off so much when you have the end product, but it takes a little while, So this is certainly not one of those, super quick dishes, but there's not many ingredients in here, and you can use this as a formula to work with so many different other recipes, highlighting other ingredients. Whatever's in season, right? So you can see it absorbed all that water, right? So you just keep going. Just keep going. Just adding a ladle at a time until it starts to, stick again. This is an indicator. You see how you can pull it away and it's really absorbing all of that liquid, which is incredible, and that's exactly what you want. So the nice thing about risotto is you can make a big batch, okay? So never make just enough for one meal, okay? Make enough to last a couple meals. Because what you can do with this, because risotto tends to have a good amount of fat in it, because we're gonna finish it with butter, it tightens up once it's chilled up. So it's gonna be very thick once it's chilled. And what you can do, you throw it in a pan, you can add some vegetable stock or some water, re-season it if you need to, and then you just, to reheat it, you just do what I'm doing here. You loosen it back up with the heat, and you have a risotto just like it was fresh the day before. So you can see, next step, I'm pulling away, and you see the liquid, it's really tightening up, okay? But you're constantly moving the rice. And again, by doing that, you're agitating it and you're bringing out those starches. I've added liquid probably about 4 or 5 times. Now it's basically a rinse and repeat. Keep on following that process, okay? I'm stirring it, I'm moving the pan, I'm making sure it does not stick. And again, constant agitation for the rice is critical to create a really amazing creamy texture. So at this stage, what you can do is you can start adding vegetables. You can cook the vegetables on the side, whether you're roasting them or steaming them, blanching them, adding them in, or you can add them probably halfway through the cooking process. Okay, so I'm going to add some peas right here in just a bit, but I also have some asparagus. Instead of adding these in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blanch them, and then I'm going to add them in at the end. Just gonna slice these up the size of green peas, and I'm just gonna keep the top of the spears to finish it with, so. All right, you don't wanna leave it too long. See, it's starting to stick already, so I just left it for, what, 30 seconds there? It's already starting to stick, so it's not something that you just, set it and forget it like you would a normal white rice or brown rice or any other grain. This is something that constantly needs your attention and love here. So you can see that it is almost doubled in size, the rice. And you can also tell that it's still pretty undone, all right? And it's still quite al dente, to say the least. It's still probably pretty crunchy, you can tell. And you're gonna be able to really taste. So it's 25 minutes of going through this process. You can start to try it, you can start to taste it, and you can start to add other ingredients. I'm gonna start seasoning. I have some salt. Okay, I have some pepper. Again, you can season as you go, but I like seasoning probably halfway through here. And let's see, I'm gonna add some butter in there. Get some more fat going on. This is a creamy risotto. We want that fat. That fat's gonna really give it some body, and it's also going to really keep it that creamy consistency that you're looking for. All right, I'm gonna try that out, see where we're at. It's really good, but still a little firm. I'm gonna keep on stirring that up. That's delicious. So I'm gonna get a little bit more water in here because I'm gonna use the same water to blanch those veggies. So I'm gonna add a couple different aromatics here. So I have a little bit of lemon, all right? I'm just gonna roll that lemon because I'm gonna use a touch of lemon juice, but I'm gonna use some zest in here. This is gonna really brighten it up. It's gonna go perfect with that salmon. Also, that salmon burger that we're gonna chop up in here. Again, you don't wanna leave it too long because it definitely starts to stick. It's a good sign, it's doing the job. Just gonna continue to add some more liquid. It's probably gonna be done probably one or two more times with liquid. All right, that is looking beautiful. So, I'm gonna add a little bit more fat in there. Add a little bit more fat, okay? And we're going to add some Parmesan in there, and this is gonna melt. This is a vegan Parmesan. So good, so nice. Okay, this is gonna add to the creamy factor. Smells so good. This is about done. I'm gonna add a little bit more water. Okay, we're gonna let this cook down. You can see that creaminess is incredible. Look at that, look at that. That is a proper risotto, beautiful. Okay, so that's gonna cook down for a minute. Now, while this is hot, I'm just gonna blanch these veggies real quick. Let's dump those in. Blanching is anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how long it is in boiling water. These are pretty much done. You're just basically brightening the colors. Typically, if you're blanching, you can also put it in an ice bath, okay, which will shock the color, so it shock the cooking process so it doesn't continue to cook. But I'm just blanching these for about 20 seconds and I'm gonna remove them. All right, those are going in. Let's keep going here. This recipe will feed 4 to 6 people using those 2 salmon burgers and with whatever veggies that you're adding. And that's just vibrant and beautiful. Look at that. All right, we're gonna let that cook for a moment. Let's go ahead and chop up those salmon burgers. And look at that flakiness. Look at that flakiness, you guys. It is so beautiful. You chop that up, it is just like a flaked salmon. Perfect for a risotto or pasta dish. I'm gonna shut the heat off because that's done. That is done. I'm gonna add the salmon. Let's add that salmon in there. Oh, cannot wait to dig into this. All right, look at that. Let's stir that in. Just gonna gently fold in that salmon. Oh, it just looks so good and it smells incredible. The brightness of the lemon and oh, look at that flakiness. It just looks beautiful. Look at that, gorgeous risotto. This will feed a family for sure. And all I used was probably a cup and a half of rice. Look at how much that you know, it tripled there with all the vegetables in there. Now it quadrupled. So let's grab our plate. Let's serve that up. It's delicious. Lunch. Okay, then I'm just gonna shake it around the plate. Make it cover the plate there. It's just so beautiful. Let's get a couple of those asparagus tips in there. That's so beautiful. That looks so good. Okay, there you have it. I have just a little bit of baby arugula just to kind of sprinkle it about for that fresh sort of bite. Finish it with a little bit of flake salt. You guys, this is my jam right here. So good. I cannot wait to dive into this, you guys. Salmon risotto at its best here. Fresh risotto using that arborio rice. I have some lemon zest in there, some peas, some asparagus, that Good Catch plant-based salmon burger chopped up. This is gonna be delicious. It looks so good. That is good. Sorry, I'm Chad Sarno. This is Good Catch Cooks. We'll see you next time.